You're watching the News Hour at 9.
Welcome back. Yet again, in the garb of secularism, communal hatred has been embraced for electoral gains. In its undisguised greed for power, the Congress party has now allied with Ittehad-e-Millat, headed by a man who called for a Hindu genocide just last week, Maulana Tauqeer Raza Khan, in an open call to all Muslims, had roared that when Muslims rise, Hindus will have no place to hide. Listen in to that provocative comment made just a few days ago.
मैं देखता हूं मेरे नौजवानों के दिलों में कितना गुस्सा पनप रहा है। मैं डरता हूं उस वक्त से जिस दिन मेरे नौजवान ये गुस्सा फूल पड़ा, जिस दिन मेरा नौजवान मेरे कंट्रोल से बाहर आ गया, जिस दिन मेरा कंट्रोल इन नौजवानों पर से खत्म हो गया। मुझसे बहुत लोग कहते हैं ये तुम तो बुज़दिल हो गए, तुम तो कुछ करना ही नहीं चाहते, लेकिन मैं कहता हूं कि पहले मैं मरूंगा, बाद में तुम्हारा नंबर आएगा। लगता है अपने हिंदू भाइयों से खास तौर से कह रहा हूं, मुझे उस वक्त से डर लगता है जिस दिन मेरा ये नौजवान कानून अपने हाथ में ले लेगा। हाँ, वीडियो हो गई कंप्लीट हो। जिस दिन ये नौजवान कानून हो गया और कानून अपने हाथ में लेने पर मजबूर हो गया, तो तुम्हें हिंदुस्तान में कहीं पनाह नहीं मिलेगी।
Yet this man is being embraced by the Gandhis, as you can see in this picture of him with Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. This is visual proof of how Congress, the self-appointed custodian of secularism in India, has joined hands with those spewing hatred. This hate-monger cleric has openly announced support to the Congress party in 5 states. Yesterday, it's not the first time that Congress has welcomed this support of controversial groups that peddle hate. In fact, in 2020, Congress allied with the Welfare Party of India, whose parent organization, the Jamaat-e-Islami, is a group that has been banned by 2 previous Congress regimes. The STPI had wished for a virus to kill crores of Indians, but the Congress had opened its arms to the organization in multiple years across multiple states. Just last year, Congress allied with the Indian Secular Front for 2021 Bengal elections, the same organization who wanted to liberate the motherland with blood if needed. So for the Congress party, this may be routine, but if it is so, then they should drop this act of calling themselves secular. Listen in to the BJP sting.
तरह के तमाम लोगों ने, चाहे वो तौकीर रजा हों या और भी लोग हों, असदुद्दीन ओवैसी हों, या इससे पहले तमाम और हमारे कुछ मौलानाओं की एक टोली है जो अपने निजी फायदे के लिए मुसलमानों को बेचने का काम, उनकी ठेकेदारी करने का काम हमेशा से करती रही है, और इसकी कहीं ना कहीं जन्मदाता वो कांग्रेस रही है।
But tonight, the Congress leadership is silent as many questions stare them in the face. And that is the legitimate question we are asking on the news. Is Congress crossing the line to appease in Uttar Pradesh? That's the question, and that's the debate. Coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight on the debate, Nupur Sharma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, Shoaib Jamai, president of the Indian Muslim Foundation, and Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst. And I want to ask you, Tehseen Poonawalla, just how desperate is the Congress party? Will you ally with the Indian Secular Front last year? And you know what the result for the Congress party in Bengal was. Now in Uttar Pradesh, the signs of desperation just so acute that once again, a man who says there will be a genocide and that the youth, the Muslim youth will come out and they will kill people in masses, in mass numbers. And this is the man who's now your new poster boy, speaking from the dais yesterday in Uttar Pradesh with your state president and in these pictures with Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. So are you the same party that has a problem with the Dharam Sansad when you yourself play quite a role in propagating hate and supporting those who spew venom?
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for having me on the show, and good evening to all the fellow panelists. As you're aware, I'm an atheist, and I firmly believe that religion, either side, must have no place in politics. Whether it is Atal Bihari Vajpayee going to the Shahi Imam and asking for votes, or Mr. Narendra Modi going to Asaram and Ram Rahim asking for votes, or the Congress even allying with Maulana Raza or with the Islamic Secular Front. The fact of the matter is that whoever the Congress allies with, there is one fundamental difference. As you know, that it allied with the OAC brothers. When the OAC brothers made derogatory statements about Hindu gods and goddesses, immediately they were put in jail. It was the Congress government of Andhra Pradesh. They were thrown in jail and the alliance was broken. So the Congress gets people into main front. Unlike the BJP, when Naresh Agarwal says Ram mein hai Shri Ram, it goes and allies with him, and it aligns with people like Ram Rahim and Asaram.
I am asking you, it's not about religion. It's nothing to do with religion. Anybody who spews hate in the manner Tauqeer Raza has, is this acceptable? Because hate on this show was condemned when it happened in the Dharam Sansad. So I'm asking you, Tauqeer Raza does not personify hate to you? Does he or does he not?
And I'm lost. I'm actually lost. Why has Adityanath ji not taken action on him, the Uttar Pradesh government? Why has it failed? I can understand your question of asking the question. Just one line.
Then,
I can understand
if it is Yogi Adityanath's problem, then why do you want to say any other single word? If it is Yogi Adityanath's problem, I will ask Nupur. I will ask Nupur for a response.
They failed in law and order. Therefore, we should kick them out.
But you will ally with them. You don't have a problem.
But the BJP needs to be removed because they fail on every front. Whereas the Dharam Sansad of these hate speeches, the BJP is a failure of a party.
What about your failures, Tehseen, Poonawalla?
There is no failure. Anybody who allies with the Congress has to come to mainstream.
Okay.
The failure is the BJP.
But you are mainstreaming hate, and Nupur Sharma, I want to ask you, pehnenge ye taaj secularism ka, and they will come out with the Indian Secular Front, and they will come out with the people like Tauqeer Raza Khan, and they will say that they are mainstreaming people. Is mainstreaming of hate what they are doing?
Because to you, to panelists, and also to your viewers, I'll just make 3 quick points. First and foremost, perhaps Tehseen should look into the, not so historic past and see how Digvijay Singh was actually stooping to the feet of Asaram Bapu and seeking his blessings as well. There is a photographic proof of that. Secondly, and most importantly, as far as, those Sansads and all are concerned, obviously, certainly the government of the day in Uttarakhand and also in Uttar Pradesh has taken action. But, when you specifically talk about mainstreaming, well, since August 2021, Navika, I've been saying one thing. This tussle in the opposition is nothing but about their share from the 19% vote bank, as senior Owaisi said so. Most certainly, Tehseen has actually admitted that they were the ones who actually formed government and coalition with Owaisi's party AIMIM, which has Muslim in its own name. But let's not forget, when Rahul Gandhi himself is mainstream, who says so in a closed-door party meeting that we are a party of Muslims, wherein their own Prime Minister, Dr. MMS, can you forget, Navika, when post-Muzaffarnagar riots, Dr. MMS decided to only visit to Muslim camps? Or can you forget, right after the Delhi riots, Rahul Gandhi chose to actually only visit, religious places of worship or houses of people who belong to a particular religion? Or can you forget even Sonia Gandhi, prior to the Delhi riots, stoking fire by saying, "Ye Arya Par ki ladai hai"? Or can you actually forget time and again Rahul Gandhi abusing Hindus? Time and again Rahul Gandhi being in the news was saying stuff like Hindus are more dangerous than the banned terrorist organization like LET. I will just list out the kind of terrorists that they have and they promote. Of course, it doesn't actually, escape my memory how right after Imran Masood said, "Main Modi ko boti kaat dunga," Congress party's then head, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, went, and he was in charge. He went to Saharanpur in Gandhi Park. He ensured that he's standing with Imran Masood's wife and kin and promoting them. And right after that, they promoted him to the post of Vice President Uttar Pradesh Congress Committee. So they promote hate. They promote anything which is anti-Hindu.
But
and
why,
they just do lip service by wearing a
Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh not acting against Tauqeer Raza Khan?
It's a bit rich, Navika. I really want the opposition party to actually make up their minds. In West Bengal, once model code of conduct comes into place, it is a problem, administration, law and order of the Election Commission. But in Uttar Pradesh, it's still a problem of Yogi Adityanath. Make up your mind.
When this statement was
That's
made,
what the matter is.
when this statement was made, there was no model code of conduct. There was no model code of conduct. Please see the date.
That's the reason why when you have people like Nayed Hassan and Haji Yunus and what have you, you know they have 17 and 23 FIRs respectively registered against them in the local Thana. When under the Gangster Act, you have roughly 40,000 people arrested. When there are encounters putting these mafia, terrorists and criminals behind bars, it's the Congress party which says Yogi Adityanath is against a particular religious section. Make up your mind. The fact
so they didn't act because of Congress. So they didn't act because of Congress.
Law and order.
So they didn't act because of Congress. Amazing.
Under Yogi Adityanath.
Shoaib Jamai, I want to ask you a straightforward question. Do you think Islam teaches, and Maulana Sahab is telling the youth, and he says, I see the anger in the eyes of my youth and I'm afraid that one day this anger will burst out. I'm afraid that day I will lose control over them. What will happen that day? My youth are telling me you are getting older, you can't do anything, but I want to tell them I will die first, then you. I want to tell my Hindu brothers that I'm afraid that one day when my youth takes law into their own hands, you won't find any place to hide in India. Now, if this is not provocation, if this is not a threat, then Shoaib Jamai, what is this? What is this? आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही जी जी अब आ रही है
Is it okay?
Yes.
Frankly speaking, Navika, there is anger amongst the society when they saw the Muslims, educated Muslim girls were put online for their soul by those so-called Hindutva right-wing members, and there were hate speech against the Muslims in Haridwar. Yes, there was anger, but Maulana Tauqeer Raza is saying that he is feared that one day this is going to burst down. He is not asking to hold on the put up the weapons and doing the massacre as whatever said in the Haridwar to massacre to 20 lakh Muslims by the 200 Hindus. What was very rubbish thing. But the thing is that how hypocritical is that when you say the siding with the cleric like Maulana Tauqeer Raza with the Congress will gonna affect the Congress vote in a political narrative, but siding with the hardcore Hindutva godmen who openly incite violence against the Muslim community for the BJP, it's beneficial for them because you think the BJP is the extremist party and the Congress is the secular party.
Who's supporting any open hate or hardline? You know, are you trying to draw parallels where none exist? And Anand Ranganathan, Dr. Anand Ranganathan,
and the second thing,
I want to ask you,
Navika,
he says, उन्होंने कहा है अगर ऐसा होगा तो ऐसा होगा. So this is only hypothetical. So I want to ask you, Tauqeer Raza is hypothetical and Dharam Sansad, which must be decried, which must be criticized, which must be completely damned. The question is, can there be two different yardsticks to measure two different communities, number one? And number two, you know, this secularism farce that is led by the Congress party. How does one deal with this? Because they actually blatantly go around calling themselves the kings of secularism in India, when actually they've shown how hypocritical that entire tag is.
Yeah, good evening, Navika, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. I'm the last one here speaking, so I hope I won't be interrupted. Thanks very much. No, Navika, you're absolutely right. First of all, I'm
shocked and disappointed that Congress has no qualms over allying with those who want Hindu genocide. There are two issues here, Navika, and let me delve into them one by one. They're very important. The first is double standards. Not only are they all pervasive amongst all political parties, it has to be said, they are the primary weapon in an outrage by the media, or most in the media, and the usual cabal and peddlers of fake narratives and selectivity. Take this case. For the last few weeks, they have been shouting from the rooftops about the Haridwar Dharam Sansad and how the sadhus there peddled hate against Muslims. I condemn it. Definitely I condemn it. It was hate speech. But not a whimper over the Muslim politicians calling for Hindu genocide or flexing their muscles in preparation for a battle with Hindus, deriding Hindus, calling for arming of Muslims, giving dire warnings. Nothing whatsoever. So they are against hate speech only when it suits them. Navika, now let me come to the other issue, that of hypocrisy. That's more important. And here, each one of us, I'm afraid, is guilty, Navika. Because what is and isn't hate speech is subjective and thus exploited by the state. We have laws and articles and amendments that, rather than protect the rights of the dissenter, protect those who violate the rights of the dissenter. Everything is grey. Everything is subject to something. Everything is primed for offending someone's religious sensibility. Since the First Amendment came into place, brought in by Nehru, tens of thousands have been prosecuted, banned, jailed, killed for offending religious sensibilities or offending public decency or for hate speech or frivolous sedition charges. In my opinion, and I speak as a free speech absolutist, hate speech should be prosecutable only and only if it is active, palpable, imminent incitement leading to actual physical harm. Or else, tell me, why don't we consider the commandments of some holy books calling for the annihilation and destruction of non-believers as hate speech as well? Indeed, those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire. 456. Does the government or any of the panelists here have the guts to call this hate speech? What about Periyar, the man worshipped by DMK leftists? He said, quote, if you see a Brahmin and a snake on the road, kill the Brahmin, unquote. Isn't this hate speech? But Periyar is eulogized by millions. Navika, just 10 seconds, I beg of you. Those who deny the Quran, their necks will be shackled and they will be dragged in boiling water and in fire till 40-70.
My question, Anand Ranganathan, is on the hypocrisy of the Congress party, which gives everybody lessons on secularism, but then sits with these kind of hate mongers in Bengal, in Uttar Pradesh, and still want to, continue to, possess their moral high ground. How does that work?
No, Congress, obviously, Navika, Congress is hypocritical. I mean, there is no doubt about it. They are into politics. But I am asking as a society, we have to show the mirror to Congress. But how can we show the mirror to Congress if we ourselves are hypocritical? If we ourselves do not believe that, these scriptures, they are peddling hate, I ask point blank to some of my panelists, what I quoted the verses, do they consider that as hate speech or not?
Respond, Nupur Sharma.
Well, I most certainly in part actually agree with Mr. Ranganathan, Professor. Seldom happens I don't actually agree with him, and I have to give it to him. He's made a very valid point right now. But at the same time, the only difference is to the question you pointedly asked, Navika. The fact is that those behind the Dharam Sansad are behind bars, whereas Tauqeer Raza is enjoying the company of what is his name, Lallu Singh, I think, from the Uttar Pradesh Congress Committee President, and also getting photographs clicked, which are being tweeted in the company of Priyanka Vadra, which are being tweeted by the official Congress handle. So that's the difference. If Tehseen and the party support were any secular, I'm sorry to say, they would not be just looking at mere minority appeasement and vote bank politics. They would be ensuring that people like Tauqeer Raza are actually kicked out. But they need them for their power of 19% vote.
Respond, Tehseen. I'm coming to you, Shoaib. Respond, Tehseen.
Quickly, two quick points. My friend from the BJP, Nupur, made two factual points, and I quote Times of India, January 2014, where she lied on your show that Dr. Manmohan Singh only visited Muslims after Muzaffarpur riots.
I'm not discussing historical debates.
No, but we must call out the lies of the BJP. But we must call out the lies of the BJP. This is the narrative. This is the narrative.
Don't quote out of context. Don't quote out of context. Come back to the debate of the present.
When you lie about the if I'm allowed to speak, or I'll keep quiet. I'll keep quiet, she can speak. I thought it was my chance. When I call out the lies, you're stopping me, keep stopping. Please allow me to make my point.
Hit and run not allowed on the NewsHour.
Thank you. Please allow me to make my point. Please allow me to make my point.
Come back to the facts of today. Tell me why should this country call Congress secular? Give me one reason after today.
The facts of today is the BJP lied about the Congress and continues to lie on NewsHour. Fact number two, the BJP did not act against
Are you telling me these pictures on the screen of Tauqeer Raza with Priyanka Gandhi are false? Yes
they're
or no?
absolutely true.
Yes or no?
Absolutely true. They're absolutely
all
true.
right. And
They're absolutely true.
are you saying that
Yes.
Tauqeer Raza did not make this statement? Tauqeer Raza did not make this statement just about 2 weeks ago. Are you saying that? Are you saying that?
Why has the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh not acted? Why does he fail?
Are you saying that the
Why has he failed?
Congress
He's a failure. Therefore, he has to leave. Therefore, Congress is coming to power. Therefore, Congress is coming to
Raza
power.
being given the dais in Uttar Pradesh by the Congress chief in Uttar Pradesh. Is that picture also lying? Is that picture lying? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no?
I mean, you know that's the truth. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to prove.
Truth,
what's the point? You're making no point. You're making 0 point.
Point proven.
You're proving. I'm glad you proved the point.
Shoaib Jamai, I'm coming to you, Nupur. Shoaib Jamai. Shoaib Jamai.
Okay.
Just ask why Adityanath didn't act. That's all.
I'm going to
ask you to ask.
Don't tell me how to anchor my show.
I'm not asking you why is Adityanath ji
Find
failing.
your own show
Therefore,
to
the
anchor.
Congress
In
will
my
come
show, I will
and
ask
will
the
act against all
questions, and when
hate-mongers.
and how is my decision. Shoaib Jamai.
Okay.
But Adityanath
Navika ji, I just listened to my fellow panelist, Dr. Ranganathan, and more precisely, he is the digital son-in-law of Times now because he's getting more time than the other panelists. But yeah, frankly,
Navika, this is the point with such haters.
He is.
Why do you hate the unbeliever so much?
What do you mean by son-in-law? What do you mean by son-in-law?
What kind of language is this?
What do you mean
I
by
can also
son-in-law
respond in
Times
kind.
now? We don't have
I can
son-in-law.
also respond in kind.
We
Just
are all
because they are
professionals here.
rattled.
Shoaib Jamai,
Just because this guy is unpad anadi is rattled by what I do. I object to this. I must be given time to respond.
Yes.
People,
Please
I must
respond.
yes,
Please respond, Anand Ranganathan.
on the point basis.
No. Your point goes into the dustbin. Now, Anand Ranganathan will respond.
The hypocrisy of the secular mass.
Now,
political narrative in Uttar Pradesh. The political narrative is that there is a voice between forward communities and backward.
1 minute. All faders down. Only Anand Ranganathan.
Yes. Navika, as you know, I was last in the debate to speak. I did not interrupt anyone. I said my 2 minutes. It was unbecoming of one of your panelists to go personal, but that's all right. That is his prerogative. But the point I'm making is that if he trades insults, then I give as good as I get, and you know a very logical, rational question. It was not that I am saying that I believe that these verses are hateful. I pose this question to this scared bigot. Does he believe that saying all politics are the worst of creatures, and if you disbelieve in our verses, we will roast in hell? Does he believe that this is hate? What is he going to say? And he was so scared and rattled, rather than answering, he had it all prepared. I know he's going to say, I'm quoting out of context. He's going to say that I'm going to, as a disbeliever, as an atheist, I cannot interpret the verses. He has it already. And the point
what you are saying is a question that was posed to Mr. Shoaib Jamai. Mr. Shoaib Jamai chose to get personal. Times Now and son-in-law, well, we are all professionals here, running a professional show. We happen to be professionals, and the people on this panel are professionals in their own rights and respectable professionals at that. Well, hate mongers and hate becoming mainstream, is that the new Congress? Do they still deserve the secular tag? Something they need to think about, and something we need to think about. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the NewsHour tonight. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same show. The NewsHour at 9 p.m. And be safe. Yes, the numbers may be coming down. It may be mild, but it's still out there. So be safe.